At the 7th Greater Mekong Subregional Leaders Summit, or the GMS, also held online on Thursday, Premier Li Keqiang of China proposed 6 ways to boost cooperation with Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam. Themed Renewed Strength to Face the Challenges of the New Decade, the summit focused on the economy, fighting the pandemic, and improving infrastructure. How can these economies together become an engine of global growth? Which trade initiatives are China's focus? I'm pleased to be joined by Dr. Benarith Chan, Vice Chairman of the Board of Directors at the Cambodian Institute for Strategic Studies based in Singapore, and in Beijing by Dr. He Wenping, Senior Research Fellow at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Dr. He, great to have you back with us again. This region is remarkable in that it has a huge economic output, the natural economic area bound together by the Mekong River, an area of 2.6 million square kilometers, a population of over 300 million. Where do you see, things can improve in terms of economic and trade cooperation among these 6 countries?
Well, just as you put forward, there are huge, the size and also the people are all quite a lot. And plus, there's a river. In China, it's called the Nanshan River, and then out of China, it's called the Mekong River. So this river itself linked all those 6 countries together. So we can share a lot of things in common, like those connectivity and transform, especially those transport corridor into economic corridor. I think this is a very good idea. So if those connectivity has been built, and if all those 6 countries becoming a single market, can you imagine? I think that will be a huge potential, and then has been digged out to meet those rising demand coming from the people.
Yeah, Dr. Chan, thank you for joining us tonight. How do you look at the importance of this, initiative, the Mekong Subregional Leaders Summit?
It was established back in 1992 by the Asian Development Bank in order to promote regional connectivity and development. And as we have seen the past decades, the annual trade among the Greater Mekong sub-region countries has increased from 5 billion in 1992 to 639 billion as of 2020. So that remarkable increase in trade thanks to the political commitment of a regional country in regional integration, and also the improvement of infrastructure, especially transports and cross-border trades and investments. So those are some of the key kind of achievements in this sub-regional cooperation when it comes to the trade flows, investment, and mobility, especially tourists.
Yeah, Dr. He, how do you look at the cooperation among these countries working together to address the fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Oh, yes. I think in order to deal with this challenge coming from this pandemic, and all those countries in this Great Mekong sub-region, we have been working together, like, mutually support each other and providing those anti-pandemic, those materials, including like face mask and ventilator, all of that. So I think this is one thing. And plus now the vaccine. Vaccine has coming up as a very effective way to eventually fight back this pandemic. So China, being the second biggest economy and also the first big country out from this pandemic and get economy back on the track. So of course we have this duty to provide more assistance to another 5 countries in the region. For example, this vaccine assistance. So China has been providing vaccine assistance to many countries.
Am I right in understanding that there's great political trust among at least many of these member states, for example, Cambodia and China? Professor Dr. He, because we remember back in February 2020, when China was, having its outbreak. Prime Minister Hun Sen of Cambodia was among the first foreign leaders to visit China.
Yes, that was very impressive story. I also had a very deep impression about that. I even made a Twitter and also a WeChat story writing about this. You see, that was the first foreign leaders came all over, because before he even wanted to travel to Wuhan, to the city, suffered from that virus. But eventually, for the safety of Hong Sen, and then he visited Beijing. I think this visit itself is a kind of those trust to Chinese government and to Chinese people, to trust us can have this capacity to win this war against this pandemic, and also this kind of support to support China and the Chinese government. This is support he represented, not only himself, is all represented the people from Cambodia as a whole.
Dr. Chan, how do you look at the political and diplomatic aspects of the relations among these countries, this Greater Mekong Subregional Leaders Initiative?
Yes, obviously, political trust is the most important capital in forging regional cooperation. Either it's a pandemic disease or climate change or water resource management, poverty reductions, human resource development. All these countries share a common vision and common destiny that they need to work together in order to assist each other to address these kind of emerging issues. And when it comes to the pandemics, China have also taken a leadership role in providing support, now vaccines to the regional countries. So that is the kind of friend indeed. When the country on the region facing challenges, China is there to help them.
Another important issue is infrastructure that is very important for economic growth. Premier Lee talked about promoting interconnectivity as part of the 2030 transport strategy. Dr. He, can you tell us more about this initiative? How important is it?
Yes, infrastructure connectivity, of course, has been improved again and again as the very fundamental basis for any economic takeoff. In this, Great Mekong sub-region, actually many members, they're still facing this bottleneck for the economic development. Some area, they're short of those access linking the village to the city. So I think according to those plan, they were going to be like a railway, like linking north to the south and then the west to the east. So we'll make a network to make all those countries connectivity becoming reality. So I think through those years hard working, a lot of projects, of course, has been finished and many more has in the construction process. So which will be, I think, in the future, when those all the networks has been fulfilled, we will see, of course, a very strong basis for this region to come to a very good starting for a new phase of development.
Dr. Chan, sharing a border or sharing waters can be a good thing, but it can also be a potential spell when you think about Israel and the Palestinian territory. What is the progress in sharing the waters of the Mekong River and addressing problems such as floods? Because we know that China is sharing data on the river's water levels.
Well, we have no choice but need to live together because we have to share the same river. So we need to tolerate to each other, need to find ways to cooperate, even though there are some differences with regard to the water resource management. But so far, we have seen significant progress in trust building in this kind of practical cooperations. So that have proven to be kind of the foundations of regional integration and community building, because the country, share this kind of vision to develop the Mekong River together. And one more thing, in addition to the infrastructure, this is very core and critical kind of physical connectivity between the country and the region, because due to geography, such as landlocked country like Laos, they need to transform itself to be a land link, so need to get access to seaports and so on. So rail.
Sorry, I think we're losing you. Dr. He, why don't I pick it up from you? The 7th GMS, that is the Mekong, Greater Mekong River initiative among these 6 countries, that was the first to be held after the pandemic. And its theme is interesting, renewed strength to face the challenges of the new decade. So other than COVID-19, what are the potential future challenges facing these countries?
Yes, I think this theme is well chosen because no matter how hardship it is, we have to face the future. So in the future, I think apart from this pandemic issue, and then we have to focus on those new way for promoting trade. For example, this digital economy, and also transnational those service trade. Nowadays, digital economy, I think among this GMS is not that encouraging compared with our digital economy cooperation with other parts of the world, even with Africa, that continent. Now we are talking about the digital economy, how to promote the trade through the crowd meeting or whatever. But in terms of those talking with GMS, I don't think it happens that good shape. So this is one thing. Another is, of course, telecommunication. This is co-related with this digital economy. So you have to have set up some those stations for sending and receiving those signals. So this is another thing. Another is infrastructure. As my Cambodia colleague just mentioned, infrastructure is a long-term challenge. Even though you have made plan, but in real, those construction, it takes time, spend a lot of money and time consuming, especially those landlocked country. He mentioned that Laos, those countries, because they haven't have enough those access to link with other country, not mention goes through the sea road and then to connect with a larger world beyond the boundary. So that's very hard. And those difficulty about the geography. And another challenge I have to mention, that is some political issue, international issue. Some outside forces, for example, the United States, also established called the U.S. and the Mekong partnership since last year. September. So until today, 1 year already there. So they also want to get into this region and to build up this competitive.
I think eventually it's up to these
approach.
countries to figure out what they want and what they want to do together. Thank you very much, Dr. He and Dr. Chen. And that will do it for this edition of The Point. Thank you for watching.